If you've been scrolling through endless lists of rotating lasers, watching YouTubers compare specs, and still feel stuck wondering which one actually makes sense for the job you have in front of you, stick around. This review is going to cut through the noise and give you a practical picture of whether the Leica Rugby 610 is the tool that will actually save you time on the site. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of situation where you pull a rotating laser out of the truck. You're on a construction site, a landscape crew, or maybe just a DIY homeowner who's finally tackling a deck or a shed foundation. The job calls for a line that stays true across a long distance, and you need that line to be reliable even when the wind is whipping or you've got a bit of dust in the air. That's the core promise of the Leica Rugby 610, a self-leveling, 650-foot rotating laser that advertises 332-inch accuracy at 100 feet. On paper, those numbers sound solid, but the real question is how they translate into everyday use. The biggest hesitation most buyers have is around the self-leveling claim. In the field, you'll often have uneven ground, and a laser that needs to sit perfectly flat can be a pain. The Rugby 610 solves that with a single-button operation that automatically finds level within a few seconds. In practice, that means you can set the unit on a small tripod or even a sturdy piece of wood, press the button, and walk away while it does the work. I've seen contractors who normally fumble with bubble levels report that they're able to get a straight line up and running in under a minute, which is a real time saver when you're trying to keep a crew moving. Another practical strength is the built-in disturbance alert. When you're working on a busy site, the laser can get nudged or knocked over without you even noticing. The Rugby 610 flashes a warning if it senses motion, so you don't end up with a subtly off-level line that throws the whole layout off. In real-world terms, that translates to fewer recuts and less wasted material. The laser's IP67 rating also means it can handle rain, dust, and the occasional splash without skipping a beat, which is something you'll appreciate during a sudden afternoon downpour. Now, let's get honest about the hidden trade-offs. The unit uses a Class II 1 mW laser, which keeps it safe for most outdoor applications, but it also means the beam can be harder to see in bright sunlight compared to higher-powered Class III lasers. Many users carry a receiver, and the Rugby 610 includes the Rod-Eye basic receiver right out of the box. That receiver boosts visibility by picking up the reflected laser signal, but it does add a small extra step. You have to set up the receiver on a staff or pole and align it with the laser. If you're used to just looking at the beam, that could feel like an extra piece of equipment to manage. Battery life is another practical point. The Rugby 610 comes with a cell alkaline battery holder and supplies a set of batteries, which is great for getting started, but alkaline cells don't last as long as rechargeable lithium packs. In a day of continuous use, you might find yourself swapping batteries once or twice. For occasional weekend projects this isn't a big deal, but for a professional who needs the laser running for a full 8-hour shift, the cost of keeping spare batteries on hand adds up. Some competitors offer built-in rechargeable packs that you can hot swap, which is something to consider if you're looking at long-term operating costs. Who should buy the Leica Rugby 610? If you're a contractor or a landscape professional who needs a reliable, self-leveling laser for general outdoor leveling tasks, think foundation lines, grading, or setting out utilities, this kit checks the boxes. The inclusion of the Rod-Eye receiver means you won't be left scrambling for a separate accessory, and the IP67 rating gives you confidence that the device will survive the inevitable rain and dust of a job site. Even a serious DIY enthusiast who is tackling a sizable home improvement project can benefit from the quick setup and the built-in alerts, especially when you don't have the luxury of a dedicated crew to double-check every line. Who should skip it? If you're primarily working indoors or in tight, low-ceiling spaces where a rotating laser isn't necessary, you're probably better off with a line laser or a simpler tool. Also, if you're looking for the absolute longest range, some models push beyond 2000 feet, you might find the 1650-foot limit a bit restrictive. Lastly, if you're very budget conscious and already own a reliable receiver, the fact that the Leica package bundles a basic receiver could feel like paying for something you don't need. In that scenario, you could spend the same amount on a laser with a higher output Class III beam that's easier to see in bright daylight. When it comes to practical weaknesses,